Joining me now is the CEO of IsraAID. It's a humanitarian organization which not only helped Israelis affected by the October 7th attacks, but also helping now to get aid into Gaza. Yotam Polizer, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you said that, quote, people don't understand the complexity of balancing Israeli security concerns with the humanitarian needs in Gaza. I wonder today, is Israel fairly balancing those concerns, or does the food shortage there show it's weighing its own security higher than the needs of the Palestinian people?
Thank you. Look, the situation is desperate. We are in a very extreme humanitarian situation, and Israel and I personally have worked in places like Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, and elsewhere. And I totally agree the situation in Gaza is really, really desperate. However, I think that we all need to come together, and that's what we're trying to do at Israel. We need to bring all the different actors, the UN, the NGOs, the Israeli government, the IDF, everyone involved to sit in the same table to plan a humanitarian operation that actually makes sure the aid reaches the people who need it the most and not Hamas. And I think that's a real challenge, Jim, especially now. And the only way to solve it is if we all come together.
The thing is that even Israeli officials acknowledge that not a significant portion of aid is taken by Hamas. And when I speak to aid organizations, and you've noted this as well, the fundamental issues with the current aid distribution plan under the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation are, among other things, too few sites and requiring people to travel to those sites, often long distances, through a war zone. Can those issues be corrected by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or should we return to the previous means of distributing aid, which was led by the UN and other aid organizations?
Look, I think at this point of time, when we are at a very low point and a very desperate situation, we need all hands on deck. We need the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, we need the UN, we need the NGOs, we need Israeli civil society, we need the IDF, Israel, and other countries, including the Gulf countries, who are already, some of them are playing a major role and can play an even bigger role. So what we're trying to do, and we're right now probably the only organization that speaks to everyone in this crisis, in order to facilitate aid into Gaza. I'm not here to tell you that the situation is good. It's really, really bad. But we have to remember that that Gaza is different. Gaza is very different than other war zones that we work with, whether it's Syria, Afghanistan, Ukraine, or elsewhere. It's a condensed area where the civilian population and the active fighting are all in the same place. So making sure the aid really reaches the people is a real challenge. And look, I think we're already starting to see an improvement, but we have a long way to go, and we need to make sure that this flow of aid into Gaza from all directions, airdrops is clearly not enough. We need all the crossings open. We need to flood Gaza with aid, and that's what we're working on.
As you know, Israel is considering now occupying all of Gaza. That's the subject of this cabinet meeting underway and has been for a number of hours. How would a full Israeli takeover of Gaza affect the distribution of aid? Because what you're talking about is a shared responsibility. Right now, that responsibility is in the hands of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is an Israeli decision. If others are to get involved again, including the UN, if that's what you're talking about, would that be possible if Israel takes over the entire enclave?
Look, I'm not the government. I'm not the political decision maker. I'm a humanitarian worker, and that's what we've been doing for the last 25 years. We worked in 64 countries. Right now, as we speak, it's not just the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's the UN, it's the NGOs, it's really everyone working on this together or parallelly. And I, at this point of time, I don't think there's one solution that could work. The only thing that we can do is if we really try all these methods together to address this crisis. And then, you know, we all hope for the hostages to be back. We all hope for the Gazan civilian population to receive the aid they need and to address the acute crisis that they're at. And you know, quite frankly, I don't know what will be the political situation. What I do know is that the only way forward is for Israel and for Israeli civil society organization like IsraAID to be part of the solution. That's the only way forward.
Yotam Polizer, thanks so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you.